Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here, coming at you today with some Power Rangers toy news. We got our first physical look at some of the Power Rangers toys for the upcoming Playmates line, and I want to preface this by saying these are not, I repeat, not supposed to be, at least I don't think, the main line figures. These are meant to be additional figures that are based off of the old school Morphin 90s figures. You know, when I first saw these, I had that knee-jerk reaction too of like, oh my god, these are the main figures, mainly because that original silhouette did look a little bit like oddly proportioned. I'm sure they will still be a little bit oddly proportioned, but not this bad. But then, you know, I read further and they're automorphin, and it seems there's clarification that in addition to the mainline 5-inch figures, we're going to be getting ones based off of those old school automorphin figures from the original 90s. So we have an actual look at them, no silhouette or anything. And, you know, pretty much a tradition for these figures to look very strange. I don't think there's any of them we've ever done from the original Zordon era or Wild Force or the reimaginings that don't look oddly proportioned. And, you know, I've always actually been a fan of these type of figures. They were, actually, my very first Power Rangers figure was a Black Ranger figure, the Automorphin one. And I always liked those. I thought they were a lot of fun. The idea was fun. So I've always been a big fan. They're some of my favorite nostalgic ones. And I've said in reviews of these, whether it was a retro review or when Hasbro did their reimaginings, that I'd love to see them do a modern version. I mean, it's been like 30 years, right? We have to find a way to make these look, while probably not like a Figure Arts or a Lightning Collection or a Marvel Legends figure, not look like a thumb. Like, look pretty cool, like a midway point between still kind of looks like a normal figure, but you still have the feature. I feel like there's got to be a way to do that. I mean, I'm not a toy scientist or anything, but like, there has to be a better way to do that. In the past, it made sense, but now I just wish it was a little bit better. I think that the original ones still have kind of a retro charm, like if you want to collect retro stuff. Unfortunately, the Zeo and Turbo ones, even though they found a way to do it so you could flip back and forth and not just morph one way, look like thumbs. I kind of recall the Wild Force ones being the same way. And then we did these Hasbro ones, which were kind of just like adjacent to these ones. And by these ones, I don't mean these Playmates ones we're seeing, but I mean the original ones. Like, they were basically pseudo-similar updates. The coolest thing we did with that is do like Ninjor and Ranger Slayer. I thought that was a lot of fun. But this seems like so soon. I mean, I guess it's been a few years since they released it, and we've been on hiatus for a couple years, and it'll technically have been even longer by the time we get these. But it just seems so soon because Hasbro not only did like reissues of the original ones, at least some of them. But then, like I said, they did their own versions as well. So this is like our third take at that. Like, I'm not mad at these, but it just is kind of like a, man, this is happening very soon after the last ones. I'll be really curious at how these do. Like, in general, I've talked about how I'm curious how this line is going to do with kids, because even though I think mmpr is still the safest bet in terms of the larger casual audience, I think if you're aiming a line specifically at kids, there's not a lot of mmpr stuff going on right now. And then this is also specifically going for, in a way, a very specific 90s nostalgia play. Although I guess the idea of, you know, insta-transform figures universally appeal in terms of like kids will probably find that fun, like I did when I was younger. That's the same reason I found it appealing. But still, it's just an interesting choice. It's interesting to see, though, that we're going to be getting more different variants of stuff. Like, from what it seemed like we were just going to get the main figures, the Zords, and then there was something else. I can't remember what it was. But it seemed like it was going to be very simple. But I'll be curious if there's any other surprises. We're not that far away from Toy Fair or whatever that's going to be showing. So I'll be curious to see, in general, how they look, but also curious to see if there's any other surprises that we're getting. Like with the whole line, I'll be honest, I'm not that excited for it. Like I said, I do like the Automorphin figures. I think these are some of the weirdest looking ones. They all have like tiny heads. And I'm more curious about everything than excited, just because I do have so many Mighty Morphin figures. I'm certainly glad these aren't the basic figures. I think that just in general, they're not a good look for the main figures you would get for this line, but I think it would just cause more needless fandom drama. I'm sure this will cause more needless fandom drama, but it would be like next level if this was the main figures. I still am not worried, but I still do think the main silhouettes look like they're going to be a little bit weird, but we'll have to see. What do you think of these? Were you a fan of the Automorphin figures growing up? Do you plan on picking these up? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for more videos like this and more. Dawson Ryder, signing out.